Stop scrolling, because today's AI story is the moment cheap model pressure hit the frontier conversation again. GLM 5.2 from China's Z.ai put investors, developers, and policy people back on alert. OpenAI pushed cyber defense with a more capable GPT 5.5, Cyber and the Daybreak Initiative. The Five Eyes warning made AI cyber risk a leadership issue. And Google lost more AI stars as the talent war turned into a celebrity market. So this is today's YouGTP AI Intelligence Desk. The big read is simple: cheaper AI does not kill the boom. It changes the boom. It pushes the market from raw model hype into routing, security, cost control, infrastructure, and trust. The winners are not only the labs with the flashiest demos. The winners are the teams that can make AI useful, governable, affordable, and secure enough to run real work.
Powered by artificial intelligence.
The first receipt is GLM 5.2. Axios reports that China's new open-source model has intensified the debate over how quickly China is closing the gap with Western frontier labs. Times of India frames GLM 5.2 around coding, long context reasoning, and direct comparison with advanced Western models. The exact leaderboard claims will keep moving, but the strategic point is already clear: China is not just competing on nationalism or headlines. It is competing on capability, price, and developer access. This is why cheap model pressure matters. If a model is good enough for agentic coding, document analysis, routine research, customer support, or internal automation, then buyers start asking why every task needs the most expensive closed model. That does not mean premium models disappear. It means the platform layer gets smarter. Cheap model for routine work. Strong model for high-risk reasoning. Human review where stakes are high. The new frontier is routing. The second receipt is the market reaction. Barron's reports that cheaper Chinese AI concerns deepened the tech rout, with investors again asking whether giant compute spending will produce enough return if capable models keep getting cheaper. This is the same tension that made DeepSeek such a market event. If intelligence gets cheaper, the value does not disappear, but it may move. That is the nuance. Cheap AI can pressure the margins of companies selling premium model access, while also expanding the total number of people and businesses who can use AI. It can be bearish for one business model and bullish for adoption at the same time. The market is trying to price the transition in real time. The upbeat read for builders is that cheaper capability means more workflows become economically viable. The hard read for incumbents is that pricing power now has to be defended with reliability, trust, tools, and distribution. The third receipt is OpenAI's cyber push. Axios reports that OpenAI rolled out a more capable version of its cyber model for vetted cybersecurity firms and researchers. Economic Times frames Daybreak as a cyber defense model and initiative designed to speed up software security fixes. This is the right direction because security teams do not need 1,000 more vague findings. They need reachable vulnerabilities, validated risk, working patches, regression tests, and evidence a human can review. If AI makes attackers faster, defenders need AI that closes the loop faster. That is why Daybreak matters as a product signal. OpenAI is not just selling a smarter model. It is trying to sell a workflow: find, validate, patch, test, document. That is where enterprise trust lives. The fourth receipt is the Five Eyes warning. The Guardian reports that agencies from Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, New Zealand, and Canada warned that AI models could soon transform cyber offense and defense. That is not a normal press cycle warning. It is a signal that national security agencies see the timeline compressing. The useful takeaway is not panic. It is preparation. Every serious organization should now ask whether it can patch faster, restrict risky access, verify AI-generated security work, and keep evidence trails for review. AI cyber risk is not just a model question. It is a process question. Who can use the tool? What systems can it touch? What gets logged? What gets reviewed? The same AI acceleration that worries agencies can help defenders if the workflow is designed responsibly. The fifth receipt is talent. Business Insider reports that Google lost two major AI figures, Noam Shazeer to OpenAI and Shazeer Jumper to Anthropic. Shazeer is tied to the Transformer era and cratered.ai. Jumper is tied to AlphaFold and Nobel-level scientific AI work. Whether you read that as a Google problem or simply the normal churn of a hot market, the signal is obvious: AI talent is now a market-moving asset. This is bigger than hiring gossip. Top researchers carry technical taste, product instincts, teams, credibility, and narrative power. When they move, investors read it as a clue about where the next wave of capability may form. The celebrity era of AI talent is not always healthy, but it is real. And it reinforces today's broader theme: the AI race is not only compute. It is people, pricing, policy, product, and trust. Europe's receipt is the rule layer. The European Commission's Transparency Code supports AI Act obligations around marking and labeling AI-generated content, deepfakes, manipulated media, and certain AI-generated publications. That may sound like yesterday's policy story, but it becomes more important when models get cheaper and easier to use. If generation gets cheaper, synthetic content gets cheaper. If agents get cheaper, automated publishing gets cheaper. If video, voice, and image systems keep improving, trust infrastructure matters more. Europe's opportunity is to make transparency practical without slowing useful adoption to a crawl. The challenge is doing both: build faster and govern better. The region that solves both will have a real advantage. The infrastructure receipt is still China Space Compute. Tom's Hardware reported that Beijing approved a space computing industry innovation center to connect satellites, rockets, chips, AI companies, and space ground networks. That sounds cinematic, but it points to a practical truth: AI infrastructure is becoming strategic geography. Cheap models do not end the compute race. They change its shape. If models get more efficient, more tasks become affordable. That can increase demand, not reduce it. At the same time, advanced training, agentic workloads, video generation, cyber simulations, and enterprise deployments still need serious infrastructure. The next AI stack is not only GPUs. It is power, cooling, memory, networks, data centers, chip supply chains, and maybe eventually orbital compute. The physical layer is still the plot. Step back and the pattern is clean. China is pressuring model economics with GLM 5.2. OpenAI and the Five Eyes are pressuring the security agenda. Google talent moves show that elite researchers still shape market narratives. Europe's transparency work shows that trust and labeling are becoming part of the operating environment. That is why today's story is bigger than one model. AI is moving from capability theater into institutional competition. Who can make models cheaper? Who can make them safer? Who can hire the people who know how to build the next layer? Who can govern synthetic content? Who can route models by cost and risk? That is the new map. The trust gap is still the bottleneck. Cheaper AI expands access, which is good for builders, students, small businesses, researchers, and countries outside the biggest compute clubs. But cheaper capability also expands the misuse surface. More people can automate content. More people can probe software. More people can build agents that act across tools. That means governance becomes product market fit. Cyber models need vetted access and audit trails. Enterprise deployments need spend controls, permissions, logs, and human review. Synthetic media needs labels and detection. The companies that make AI manageable will scale faster than the companies that only make AI impressive. Trust is not the opposite of speed. Trust is what lets serious customers move faster. For builders, the playbook is straightforward. First, route models by task. Cheap model for routine summarization, extraction, first-pass code review, drafts, and low-risk internal automation. Stronger model for architecture, complex debugging, high-stakes reasoning, and work that touches customers, money, health, security, or production systems. Second, do not let lower prices trick you into sloppy workflows. If an agent can loop more cheaply, it can also make more mistakes more cheaply. Add tests, review points, logs, cost caps, and permission boundaries. Third, treat cyber as part of the product. If AI can write code and find bugs, your product needs a patch workflow too. The cheap model wave is an opportunity if you build the control layer early. Here is the watch list. First, GLM 5.2. Does it become a real option in developer workflows, or is the attention mostly a market shock? Watch adoption, not just benchmark claims. Second, OpenAI Cyber. If Daybreak and GPT 5.5 Cyber become a template, the industry could shift from AI finding vulnerabilities to AI helping close the remediation loop. Third, talent. Watch whether high-profile moves at OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google turn into products, research directions, or new interface bets. Hiring headlines are only the first step. Fourth, Europe. As AI gets cheaper and synthetic content gets easier, transparency rules become more practical and more urgent. The takeaway is blunt: the next phase of AI is cheaper, more global, more secure, and more governed. Comment with the story you want tomorrow's desk to chase, and subscribe for daily AI coverage with receipts. That is today's YouGTP AI Intelligence Desk.